Hello, Scoobies. Oh my god, how have you all been doing? It's raining outside and I thought we could do a little spell. I hope you can see everything. Let me just see if you can see everything. You seem to be able to see everything. So, okay, we'll just continue. So what we're going to be doing today is a little candle reading on a taper candle. For me, I don't know. Everybody on the internet and their mother's dog seems to think that you need certain candles for certain things and certain colors and all this nonsense. And I use whatever I have on hand. I don't know about you. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. I just use whatever I have on hand. So, first thing we need to do is we need to make a little herbal blend, which we're going to store in this. And we need to make an oil, which we're going to store. I don't know what you can see. Can you see this? You can see this. I don't have the camera facing me. I'm using my phone, so forgive me. I don't need a lot of this stuff at all in any way, shape, or form because I don't do this very often. Coconut oil, from my understanding, does not go rancid. Do not take my word on that, okay? Do not take my word on that. It's just something I read on the internet. Don't believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you watch. Take everything with a grain of salt. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a fuck. So I only need a small amount because I don't do candle readings very often. It's not a major part of my craft. But the lovely Miss Goddess of mine, whose name shall forever be a secret, she wanted me to do this after just jazz. Okay, jazz. Why do I keep moving this? So this is a really basic recipe. These are things that she wants me to put in. For your candle readings, they may be different, okay? So you use whatever your deities, spirits, fairy godmothers, unicorns, dogs, cats, whatever they tell you. Oh, I need coffee. Okay. I got the whole altar lit up. I got Ashtaroth's candle going. I've got the goddess's candle going. I've got some moon candles going. I've got just everything. So, a candle reading, okay. Let's pretend this is a candle, okay? Just pretend with me for like 5 minutes. What you guys are facing, because you're facing this way, you see the past. This side over here is the future. This in front of me is what's coming to you, and this is what's blocking you. That's how I read candles based off of my spirits and my deities. There is books, and there are internet websites, and there are different ways of reading candles. There are glass pillar candle readings that you can do. There are specific things about a candle and all this other jazz. But that's how I read the candles, okay? So just because that's how I read it doesn't mean that's how you're gonna read it. You might read it differently. I personally am so sick and tired of seeing all these posts about read my candle or my candle burned down. What's it mean? Blah, blah, blah. Or people like decorate their candles with all these flowers and pretty things all around it. And then the candle burns down and catches all of that on fire. So, you know, fire safety, people. Fucking fire safety. Okay. So, on this candle, I've carved my full name, my date of birth, and a question on it. We need to make up this oil so I can dress it. So the first thing that we're gonna put in, and there's only 3 ingredients, okay? So we're gonna put in some eyebright because we need to open our eyeballs. Eyebright, I find, for me at least, is really good in helping you. I might not even need this container because I don't think I'm making that much. Well, I'm gonna need to make some. You know what? I'm gonna go get a spoon. I'll be right back. Okay. We're back. I'm dying. So, I mean, I'm not making a lot. I use Eyebright and Mugwort the most. And I'm gonna need to order some more Eyebright when I have money. Which is apparently never. So I put in some Mugwort because Mugwort helps, for me in my craft and based on what I've read about Mugwort, it helps to communicate with spirits. It helps to open up your eyes. It helps to open up your mind. It helps you see things that you otherwise might not be able to see. Eyebright and Mugwort are definitely two of the ingredients in my road opener oil. And then the last thing that we're going to put in is some wormwood. Wormwood and Mugwort used together can be great for spiritual divination, spirit communication, and is also a good offering for the spirits. You know what I'm also going to put in here? I'm going to put some patchouli because we are asking our spirit guides, ancestors, whatever it is that you're asking, for some help in reading this particular candle. Now, I'm just kind of cutting up the Mugwort in here because Mugwort, to me, looks like weed. I'm just gonna put that out there. It looks like weed. It's fluffy and it looks like weed. People smoke Mugwort. I've made a few Mugwort joints myself, you know, no judgments. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the patchouli and I'll be right back again. Okay. Smell that. Smell it. Smell it. It smells all earthy. I like patchouli. Okay, so we've got our ingredients in here. And I'm just kind of crushing up the Mugwort a little bit. Where's my... There we go. Okay, just kind of getting that into a more finer powder. We're just gonna put a little bit of intentions into this because... So keep in mind that when you're making your incense, your powders, your oils, whatever, you're putting intention already into it because you're like, I need this herb to do this, and I need this herb to do that, and I need this herb to do X, Y, and Z. So those intentions are already in there, but I like to just put, you know, general purpose intentions. So we're just gonna take a minute to do that, okay? intentions in here. And I'm like half awake. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of this and kind of put it in here. This I use for dressing the candle as well as for making a little circle around the candle as a quote-unquote offering. And I think I've made more than I'm gonna need. So that's basically what this looks like. I don't know if you can see that. It's like 4 ingredients. So the rest of this, which is maybe about a spoonful. I'm not gonna need a spoonful in this thing. I'm just gonna need like a little bit. This is gonna be really hard to get in here. Do I look like I own a funnel? No. Funnels are expensive, yo. I can already hear you people being like, they're 99 cents at a dollar store. Like, what is wrong with you? That's how poor I am. You people always think I'm joking about being a poor person, but I'm really not. Okay, so I've just like kind of lined the bottom of this. I've seen people make oils and whatnot where they use like essential oils and so on and so forth. And if that's what you want to do, great. But I don't have the money for essential oils, and I don't really do that. Essential oils aren't really my thing. Look at this. Isn't this awesome? This is like the perfect little pourry thing. Excellent. So we're just going to fill this up with oil. And I use coconut oil in all of my oils. I used to use, what is it called? Like canola oil or olive oil. And you can use whatever oil you want to use. So I'm not going to be putting intentions into this oil because the intention's already placed into the herbs and they just get carried and mixed into the oil. Now, most people would let these oils sit for like a week or a month or whatever on their altar, and they would bless it and they would shake it and they would do whatever they want with it. But we're doing a candle reading and I kind of need this now. So I'm just gonna really shake this up really good. And the reason I only made this much is because, like I said before, I do not do a lot of candle readings. Like, I just like probably do one every other like couple of months or so. So I don't need a lot of this oil. Unlike, say, money oil or fire oil or road opener oil or command and compel oil, like I use those all the time. I am definitely not one to make a trillion different oils because I don't need a trillion different oils. My craft does not require a trillion different oils. If your craft requires a trillion different oils, by all means, but mine doesn't, so. Now, most people, when they do a candle reading, don't use giant taper candles because they take forever to burn down. And that's just, this is all I have on hand. So use what you have. So I'm just gonna take some of this oil, place it on here. Dress the candle. I dress everything on the candle, the wick, everything. Now, I know that there's certain ways you're supposed to dress the candle and so on and so forth, but you guys have seen me do this a million times. Do I look like somebody who follows rules? Now, I still have some of this stuff in here, so I am gonna dress this candle with some of these herbs. Just kind of get them all on there. You don't have to put herbs on your candle, I do. You don't really have to do anything. You don't even have to watch this video. Okay, so we're just gonna shake this to get, and you can already see, like if I hold this up here, like some of this candle does not have herbs on it, whatever. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. The craft is not meant to be perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna move the rest of these herbs kind of out of the way. We'll use them, don't worry, don't waste anything. And I'm just gonna kind of melt this a little bit. Okay, great. When you do a candle reading, the one thing that I have learned is you want your candle to stand up as straight as humanly possible. Because if it's tilted, it's going to give you a kind of screwed up reading. So I'm just gonna take some of these herbs and I'm just placing them in a circle here. And these are the quote unquote offering. Some people, when they do candle readings, they will put salt around the candle so that nothing can interfere with it, so on and so forth. But I find, and again, this is my craft, that when I do that, my deities can't get in. They can't get in. They can't get past the salt circle because they generally want to give me a message. And sometimes their message will come, I don't know, like while I'm burning it or whatever. Like it might just burn normally and then halfway down it erupts. And I have found that when I do a salt circle, the flame doesn't like to burn. And that's because the deities are like, well, fuck this, I can't get in. So that's just, I don't know, that's just the way that I do it. If you want to do a salt circle or a black salt circle or some kind of protection circle around your candle, that's totally fine. Okay. So we just need to put a few more intentions into this candle. And we'll talk after. So a couple of things happened while I was putting intention to this, and it was like kind of creepy. The first one is that there's a candle over here. It's a blue pillar candle, and it's talking. It's talking. Okay. The other thing is that while I was putting intention to this, it felt like somebody blew on the back of like my right hand side of my neck. So creepy. I am just going to put a little bit of this oil at the base. Not a lot, just enough to go around it. And I'm just gonna take a bit of the oil and rub it on my hands. We just want to feel the energy coming off this candle, which is intense. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is y'all are gonna like watch the candle with me. Except instead of sitting here for probably 2 hours, we're gonna do a time lapse. So we're gonna watch the candle burn down in a time lapse, because who has time to sit there for God knows how long this candle will take to burn down, and watch a candle burn. So I'm gonna do a time lapse, which means it'll be like a sped up version. And then once the candle's done, we're gonna come back. So there's a couple of things. So what you guys will be watching is you'll be watching from the what's coming to me section. So I'm just gonna move this candle like over here for a second. Like the what's coming to me is the side you'll be watching from. So basically in front of the candle where I'm sitting now. That's the whole like what's coming to me. The left-hand side is the past. The right-hand side is the future. And the behind the candle is the blockages. So fun stuff is gonna happen. What I want you to pay attention to, and I always like check on my candles. Like I don't just like light the thing and like walk away. I will be checking on this from behind the camera to see like what's going on. But what I want you to pay attention to is the flame and which directions the wax is going. And then we're gonna come back after the time lapse and we're gonna read the candle wax stuff leftover jazz together. Now what might happen, because this happens with all my candles, is the entire thing might erupt into flames, and then as it gets down to the bottom, the whole plate might erupt into flames. So what we'll be left with is like ash, but we can still read from that. We can still get a picture of like what the fuck is going on. Okay, so this is a basic oil that I've made, and this is a basic like dressing your candle. This can be used as an incense. Like if you wanted to, while the candle's burning, you could burn a little bit of this as an incense, but I only have 1 coal left and I need to save that for when I really need it. And I'm a peasant and can't afford new coals right now. So what we're going to do is we've made a circle around it so that the spirits can come and give messages and so on and so forth. And we're going to let it burn down and watch it together. So I'm gonna move some of the stuff in front of this candle so that I can set up the camera at a safe distance from the candle, but still close enough that you guys can watch what's going on. I say safe distance because this thing can erupt, and usually when my candles erupt, the whole plate catches on fire. So I don't put out that flame unless it's going to cause like a fire hazard. So speaking of which, I am going to put like a hot pad underneath this because I don't know what's gonna happen with this candle. For me, when a candle erupts, if I'm doing like a money working, or if I'm doing a curse, or whatever I'm doing with the candle, if it erupts and it burns really quickly, it means it's working. It's going to come to me. It'll usually burn through any blockages, it'll burn through anything in the past that might be preventing the future, it'll just burn straight down. If this one erupts and burns really fast all the way down, we might have a problem, because what we want is for this one to burn slower so that the wax can pool around and we can see what's going on. I have dressed it and I've shaken off some of the extra herbs so that we don't have the whole thing coated in herbs. And I'm just gonna actually put a few drops of oil on the wick. Anywho, so I have dressed it and I have shaken off the excess herbs. Normally I wouldn't shake off the excess herbs, but in this particular case I did, because I want this to be like a slower burn. I've had candles where I've dressed them and they take forever to fucking burn because there's usually something that they're trying to burn through. In this particular case, I kind of want this one to take a while to burn, and that's why we're gonna do a time lapse, okay? So I'm gonna be right back, and we're going to get all of this set up so that we can do a time lapse and you guys can watch it burn, pay attention to the flame, so on and so forth. And then after the time lapse, we're gonna come back and chit chat and talk about like what the fuck went on, what messages that I received, so on and so forth, okay? So I'll be back in just a jiffy. Tubies, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope that you lasted through that time lapse. Depending on how slow it is when I go to edit this video, I might just increase the time, like make it go faster. You're probably wondering, what the fuck are you doing? Well, as you probably saw if you were paying attention in the time lapse, I don't know how many of you would have sat through that whole thing. This candle, giant plate full of candles, decided to leak all over my altar cloth. And I caught it, and if you're careful, what you can do is if you have wax in your altar cloth, like I do, you can take a torch on that wax part and just kind of melt the wax down and use a cloth to pick up the wax. You have to be very, very careful not to burn the cloth itself. And of course, you're not gonna get all the wax out, but you're gonna get enough of it out that when you go to wash it, the wax won't ruin your washing machine. Okay. This is just an old trick that I've been doing for a while now. Like, as I'm feeling this, there's still wax in here, but there's not a lot. And this damn thing is bleeding wax everywhere. So we're just gonna put a cloth down here, because for some damn reason, this thing decided that it wanted to, whatever. We'll deal with that after. Ignore the cloth. I'm just trying to like keep the wax off the altar cloth. I know some of you have suggested to put down like some sort of glass thing on top of the altar cloth or what have you, but a witch's life is a messy life. So I have been watching this with you guys. I check in every little bit. The spirits don't really like me hovering around this when it's doing its thing. Can you see everything okay? Yeah, you seem to be able to see everything okay. So I'm just gonna kind of bring this closer to you so you can see there what it looks like, and you've seen it already. So I'd say around the beginning, there was some wax that was melting down the back. So remember, the way you guys were looking at it is you were looking at the front of the candle, and the front of the candle means what's coming to you. The left side means the past, and the right side means the future, and the back side means what's blocking you. So as I was kind of paying attention to the candle, what I noticed is that the back side showed me that there was a blockage that was happening, but it burned through the blockage. And what was coming towards the future was, like, what was coming towards me was also moving into the future, which means it'll be something that's going to be with me for a while. It was something that was a straight line that curved, and for me, that means that what's coming to me is going to be here for a while. There was no, from what I saw, and I'd have to go back and watch the time lapse, but from what I saw, there was nothing in the past that was affecting anything, and everything was kind of more present and future. And this thing that I had done was in relation to a video that I had posted a while ago that kind of stirred and ruffled some feathers. Apparently people don't like the messy side of witchcraft. They just like the spells and the potions. They don't like to get to know the real witch behind the whole thing. But it kind of stirred from some of that because I had to deal with that unboxing of mess. And I had worked with the goddess to kind of seal some of that back up and just kind of release it. And I'll show you like a releasing spell, at least the one that works for me. Again, all of the magic I do works for me. It's not necessarily that it's going to work for you. So, what I see over here is that these pieces had fallen off the candle and they're generally preserved. So I get to kind of see that there is some issues that need to be dealt with still through the use of shadow work on this side. There's a lot of stuff flowing towards me. Some of it's in the future. It's not necessarily that there's a blockage or that there's stuff in the past that's flowing towards me. It's just that, and it's not flowing towards me in a huge amount. It's just that it's kind of slowly flowing towards me. Now, I'm not the type to be like, ooh, I see a little old lady, or ooh, I see a face, or ooh, I see this, or ooh, I see that, because, I mean, if that's what you see, that's what you see, but what I see in this thing is that there's stuff that's flowing towards me, and it's not flowing fast. It's kind of like I'm dealing with it as it comes. But there are still some stuff that I need to deal with, and that's where shadow work and all that jazz comes in. And yeah, that's basically, like, it all pretty much stayed within the circle. Some of it kind of came outside of the circle, but it pretty much all stayed within the circle. And the overall message is that there's shit to still be dealt with, and you have kind of opened, you know, a box, and the goddess is kind of preventing a lot of that from like flooding the consciousness. It's coming through from the subconscious, where I bury a lot of my shit, into the conscious, but she is working with me to basically just let little bits in, and that's what you see here in the front, is that a little bit of it is coming into the conscious, but it's coming little bit at a time. And you know, we'll continue to do some oversharing dark twisty videos, because why the fuck not, right? Like, why the fuck not? It's my channel. So that's basically what I see here, because this was all done based on a video that I had recently done with y'all that a lot of y'all didn't really like. And some of you were kind enough to do video responses, and you know who you were, because I watch your Patreon. But aside from that, what I see and what I got as the message from my particular goddess is that you have a lot of shit right here, okay? Some of it is like messy, and you don't want to really deal with it, but we're going to deal with it together, and I'm only going to let little bits and pieces of it come through the subconscious, or through the consciousness, from the subconscious into the consciousness. Because remember how I told you before in one of my live videos that a magician has a subconscious and a conscious, and in between the two is a filter. Because if you let the subconscious overwhelm the consciousness, you go insane. Like you go batshit crazy. So here we've got all this shit within the subconscious, and the reason I'm not moving this around a lot is because the wax hasn't fully dried and I don't want to like fuck up this reading. But there's a lot of shit in the subconscious, a lot of shit that I've buried personally, a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of like just shit that I'm like, nope, not dealing with, put you on a shelf, bury you away, drink a bottle of fucking booze. And we're... From the goddess, she wants to move some of that into the conscious, but very minutely, so that it's not like you're fucking overwhelmed, and here's a bottle of tequila and a shotgun, and point it in your mouth, and pull the trigger, and there you go, your brains are everywhere. So that's basically what's going on here. And when I was watching this burn down, because I would check in on it every now and then, you would see that some stuff was burning down. I don't think you guys got to see this, but there was some stuff that was burning down in the back end of it, in the past, or not in the past, but in the blockage section, but that was burned through. That basically gave me the indication that whatever was my blockage, I had dealt with it previously, and it's gone now. And then we saw in the front some wax strip down and move along to the future. So there is some stuff that's coming towards me and I will be dealing with for a while now. I didn't see anything in the past. I'll have to watch the time lapse and maybe do an update video or put a card at the end of the video that states what I saw in the time lapse. But basically, that's what happened. And then as the candle got smaller, it kind of just erupted and burned down rather quickly, because that was the spirits being like, we have given you your message. By the way, here's the final picture. So that is a candle reading and how I personally do them. I don't believe in a right or wrong way to do a candle reading. The only quote-unquote wrong way to do a candle reading is not to listen to your guides, your spirits, your ancestors, your deities, whatever it is that you're working with, and to constantly run to social media and be like, can you read my candle? Like, please? Like, I don't know how to read a candle. Like, I don't know how to, like, Google and do basic research because I just want social media to do it for me. Like, yeah. And that, to me, is the quote-unquote wrong way of reading a candle. Now, I get it. People who do actually do the research is probably gonna have questions. It's like, you know, a question that would be appropriate in reading a candle is, hey, this candle's burned down, I dressed it with this, I did X, Y, and Z to it, and it burned down, and what I got from the reading was A, B, and C. Do you see anything else? Like, so on and so forth. But that is an appropriate doing it right question. The whole, I just burned a candle and I don't know how to read it, like that's not an excuse. That is a lazy person's way of trying to get the answer they want. Because see, those type of people will just read through the comments and be like, I don't like that answer, I don't like that answer, I don't like that answer. Ooh, that's the right answer. And it's like, you don't know that that's the right answer because you're not listening to your guides, you're not listening to your spirits, your deities, your whatever. Anywho, enough ranting. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you saw something similar to what I saw. You probably like were watching the altar and you saw the other candles going and so on and so forth. Ashtaroth and the goddess. Ashtaroth wasn't so much around, but the goddess definitely was. And I was checking on the candle probably every 10-15 minutes, so I may have seen things that you guys didn't get to see. Now, the sad thing is because it's a camera, you guys didn't get to see the flame and, like, the wick, because I got to watch the wick, and the wick, for me, it started to bow this way, and then it started to bow that way, and it started to bow that way, and then it started to bow this way, and it stayed this way, and then it went that way. And for me, what that means is that there was shit that was blocking me, there was shit in my past, there was shit in the future, and there's shit that's coming towards me, and then it's moving more into the future. Which basically symbolizes that, hey, there was a blockage, we worked through it, or you worked through it at some point, you worked through that blockage, and now you have stuff that's coming towards you, and you have to deal with it on a long-term basis. So, yeah. But it's not going to come to you like somebody turning on a fire hydrant and it's gushing water. It's more like a trickling effect. So that's basically what I saw. That's how I do candle readings. I haven't done a candle reading in like 7 months. So, and the herbs that I used last time were different than this time because the goddess was like, I want you to use these herbs and put these intentions into it, and so on and so forth. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and love to hear your comments, questions, so on and so forth. I have another video that I have to do today because while this was burning down and I was doing some work and watching TV and so on and so forth, I got this message from the goddess being like, I need you to make a servitor. And unlike the last time when we made a servitor, and I was very confused, and she was like, just do whatever you want with it, but make it. This one is very specific because it relates to this particular candle reading, and it relates to the previous video that I did where we got all messy, because getting messy on my channel is what we do. I don't know about your channel, but we get messy on my channel. We get all kinds of messy. So, yeah, so I have a servitor that I've already made up. I haven't actually brought it to life yet. I thought I would share that with you guys. My goddess has no issue with me sharing that with you guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring that servitor to life. I've already made it out of this clay, and I've already got the sigil and got all that stuff, and we gotta do a cauldron fire to bring it to life because that's how I bring them to life. I don't know how you bring your servitors to life, but it worked for me the last time, so I'm gonna do it again. And yeah, so I hope you guys stick around for that video, and until next time.